Is Ndamukong Suh the answer until Jordan Davis comes back?
You want a war? You're going to get one.
What was that? We had no time for one more play.
We had an opportunity to win that game again.
But the referee screwed us. The brother screwed us.
I'm upset, but
the brother screwed us.
At least they fought back and tried.
Only Cowboys game.
You
The
literally.
brother screwed us. The brother screwed us. Yeah, we had one opportunity for one more play.
Dallas still stinks. You're by the way, King Dingbat here. So the rankings have come out, and the Eagles are number one pretty much across the board. And should this number one team go out and get Ndamukong Suh, that we're going to talk about in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe for daily Eagles content, NFL content. You don't want to miss it. We will be streaming Thursday. We will be streaming the Giants on Sunday, Cowboys on Sunday, Eagles on Monday Night Football. You ain't going to want to miss it. It's going to get crazy. And if you've been subscribed for a while, you know the deal. Double check. Double moonwalk check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Now, before we get into the Eagles rankings and Suh, we got to talk about a little bit of Eagles news that went down today, okay? Pound Eagles have signed safety Andre Chichara, I can never say his name, to the active roster, and signed tackle Fred Johnson to the practice squad. Now, they had brought up Chichara 3 times already, which you get three times. When a guy's on the practice squad, you can bring him up 3 times. After that, you have to make him stay active on the active roster, or you have to let him go. So Chichara is now active. They brought him up, and I like him better than Kavon Wallace, so I'm okay with this. As far as tackle Fred Johnson goes, what I know of him is he's played tackle and guard for the Cincinnati Bengals. He did play in some games. This seems like a good move. You can never have too many offensive linemen, so I'm totally good with that. Totally good. Now, there have been a lot of talk this week about where the Eagles would land on, on the power rankings. Every week you see people do power rankings, and this week it's finally happened. And the Eagles, after Buffalo losing, the Eagles have gone pretty much number one on every chart I've seen. So you have ESPN number one, Pro Football Talk number one, The Athletic number one, USA Today they're number one. They're pretty much number one everywhere. NFL.com, number one. The Ringer, number one. CBS Sports, number one. Yahoo, number one. The Eagles, Inside the Birds, number one. They're number one across the board, and they should be. They're 8-0, and they haven't lost to anybody. I don't see how a team that doesn't lose a game should be 2 or 3 on a list. I think one of the most overrated things about the whole schedule thing is everybody assumes that we have had easy games and they're just teams that are so beatable and all that stuff. Did we not beat a 7-1 team? Did we not beat a Minnesota team that was 7-1? Did we not beat Dallas team, the great Dallas Cowboys? So scared. They're 6-2. We beat them. We beat the Arizona Cardinals. We've beaten everybody. I think that the Eagles are maybe the most underappreciated, underrated, disrespected 8-0 team that I've ever seen. Could you imagine if we were in a situation where the Dallas Cowboys were 8-0? You think people would talk about them the way that we get talked about? I don't think so. I mean, listen, what your ranking is 8 weeks, after 8 games isn't big. It's what you do at the end of the year, obviously. So the Eagles got to win a division. They got to clinch playoff, home field advantage, get that bye week. Those are all important things that have to happen. But We're on our way. And it's good to see that the Eagles are at least being put in number one. Now, if Buffalo would have won and Josh Allen would have gotten hurt, of course, we would have got ripped off. But it is what it is, you know. We all know what we need to do to improve. We've got to improve on our run defense. I think that's the second biggest problem on our team. I'm going to be honest. I think it's the second biggest problem. I think the first biggest problem for the Eagles is their return game. Their special teams return game. That's what scares me more than anything. But we've got to improve our run defense. It was definitely apparent versus the Texans. And there's a lot of people, we've heard a lot of chatter this week. Well, the Texans showed how exactly you play the Philadelphia Eagles, how you go at them. Maybe. I think sometimes, too, you know, when you have giant leads, you're not so concerned about the run game. I think the Eagles are way better versus the run than it looked like against Houston. However, I don't think they're good enough. I think they got to be better. Now, some of it I blame Jonathan Gannon. There's often times where you have one linebacker out there, two linebackers out there. They don't shoot gaps. They don't do anything like that. You never see run blitzes with the It's very rare. So, to me, I think that just by concentrating on more, focusing on it more, I think you'll improve. Obviously, when Jordan Davis comes back, it will improve. But in the meantime, there's a lot of people talking like, well, what should we do? What should we do in case, Jordan Davis doesn't come back healthy right away and or whatnot? We got Tennessee coming up with Derrick Henry. He's a beast. You got Saquon Barkley. He looks absolutely fantastic. So what are we going to do? A lot of people think we should go after Ndamukong Suh. Suh doesn't have a team. He would definitely help the Eagles. I can't say that he wouldn't. Now, he's 35 years old. But here was an article that came out September 22nd I thought was interesting. Veteran Ndamukong Suh draws interest from several teams. Wants to sign with a contender per report. So he's looking at signing with a contender. Okay? Now, Suh, 35 years old. He'll be 36 in January. He had 15 solo tackles last year, 6 sacks. He had 6 sacks, which is crazy. And, when Tampa lost him, their run game definitely took a hit. There's no question about it. I think Suh would be an adequate help. I think he could come in. He could really help us, especially with that rotation. And then when Jordan Davis comes back, it would be even better. I mean, the thing is in the playoffs, especially when it's cold and, it's January, I think the run game in a lot of ways become more important. Teams like to do it. Nobody wants to tackle a guy when it's 10 degrees outside. He's 230 pounds. He's running over you. Teams don't like it, but you got to do it. You got to do it. So if Suh is really looking to come to a contender and he wants to come to Philly for the right price, I would do it. Now, I don't think Suh comes in and then all of a sudden you have this stout run defense and nothing else. You have to worry about nothing else. I think some of it has to come from Jonathan Gannon, the way he schemes. I think they got to put more emphasis on it. But it is what it is. There is a definite difference, though, when Jordan Davis is on the field and, they're running against him and when he's not. There's a big difference. So the Jordan Davis loss, for all the people that want to complain about Jordan Davis and his pass rushing skills, which have to improve, obviously that's what he's got to work on. He is such a major impact, in the run game that it just can't be ignored. It can't. So to me, I think if Suh's out there and he wants the right price and you want to bring him in, I don't see how it can hurt your team. I really don't. I mean, how long is it going to take him to get going? He is 35 years old, but I'm not going to pay him a lot of money. I think more than not, the issues that they have in the run game can be solved by the players they have and by the defensive coordinator they have. They just have to do it. Okay. I think also, we look at that Texan game. You were playing on Thursday Night Football. Teams travel on Thursday Night Football. These kind of things happen. Okay? Now, the Eagles, I think they're like 20th against the run, something like that. So it's not good. They have to be better. But like I said, oftentimes the Eagles are playing with giant leads this year. And sometimes they give up those runs because they're just trying to basically keep everything in front of them, let the clock wear out. And so I think the numbers are slightly skewed, is what I'm trying to say. I think the Eagles' numbers against the run are slightly skewed to make it look not as good as it is. But I think the Eagles are better than that. However, I do think they got to get everything tight. They got to tighten it up because Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, those guys are going to be running the ball 25, 30 times. Unless, you're scoring on offense, in which case you let them run because it just kills clock. But as far as Ndamukong Suh, sure, you want to go out and get him and bring him into the rotation for the right price. I think that's a better move than signing Odell Beckham Jr. Where it's tall, should he go? No, don't sign Jr. Don't sign Odell Beckham. But Suh, that makes a lot more sense to me. For the right price, I'm not opposed to it. But I don't think it's necessary for the Eagles to do it in order to solve the problem. I think the problem can be solved with the defensive coordinator and the players, and of course, when Jordan Davis comes back healthy. He will be eligible to play in that Tennessee Titans game. We'll see where he's at, but just getting Jordan Davis back helps a lot. That's my opinion. I mean, this is an 8-0 team. They've been beating pretty much everybody at half pretty bad, except for the Texans, believe it or not. And I think the way that they play, but keeping things in front of them, I think the run numbers are definitely skewed to look worse than it really is. However, they still got to fix it and tighten it up. Just my opinion. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how we vision. We're all just living in it. So as many of you guys know, my cats had a litter of 9 kittens. Now that was 9 weeks ago, and we've been rehoming them this week. Half of them are gone, and I want to let you guys know I decided to keep this one. This is Maximus. He is one tough son of a bitch. When he was first born, he had a cut on his face, and it was like right here. It was real deep, and it was accident. His mom was trying to move him in the cage, and he caught his face on the edge of the cage, and then I didn't know what to do. The vet said they couldn't do anything much because it was deep and it was too small. He was too small to stitch. I didn't think he was going to make it. I did not think this guy was going to make it, but he was tough. He didn't complain. One night when it started to get infected, he was a little older. I took him to the ER in the middle of the night, like 3 in the morning. They gave him antibiotics. I started pumping him with that. And I nursed this cat, and he's healed. You can't even see his little cut. I'm sure he's got a scar under the fur, but me and him are really, really close, like really close. I can't let him go. So this, Maximus, is your newest Eagles fan, because he hates the Cowboys. Denzel and Maximus out.